Hey there, book people. Appreciate you dropping by. My name is Dave, and I have an October book haul for you today. Um, if you'd watched my last video, you knew that I haven't had an opportunity to get out and do any book shopping for pretty much most of the summer and the fall so far. About mid-October, I was able to get back out there and hit those library sales and thrift stores. And probably, as you could tell from the thumbnail, I think I went a little bit overboard, but you know what? Got to make up for lost time. So I've got a lot of stuff to show you, so I think I'm going to have to break this down into two videos. Part one will be today, and then I'll get part two probably next week or something like that. But in addition to the thrift stores and library sales, there was a kind of like a mini pulp fest, or it was essentially an antiquarian book fair, book show, much smaller than what I anticipate Pulp Fest actually was. But I got some stuff from there as well. But today I'm going to only focus on the stuff that I got at this massive twice a year book sale that they have down by Ann Arbor. It's on the county fairgrounds. It's fills up one of those huge exhibition buildings. There, I think they had 42,000 books this year. I meant to take photos when I got there, but man, I was just overwhelmed, sensory overload with all the books, and I just went nuts. Now they're a little bit pricey. They're $2 a book, regardless of whether it's a hardback or a paperback. And I ended up getting almost 60 books from there. So we'll get started with that, and I'll try to keep the chatter short so that we can get through this without an hour-long video. So, all right, let's get moving and see what we got. So first up, I got a Alistair MacLean novel, The Golden Rendezvous. Great Scottish adventure author. I really enjoy his work, and so I saw this one, and there were several others there, but I just grabbed one, and that one's this one. All right, let's see what's next. Oh, got a Gunsmith. This is kind of a later one, number 341, The Bandit Princess by J.R. Roberts, an adult western in the excessively long Gunsmith series. Had to pick that up just because I haven't read any Gunsmith yet, but that'll be corrected. All right, this one is I guess a more of a mystery. This is called A Share in Death by Deborah Crombie. It's the first in the Kincaid and James mystery series. Really don't know anything about it or the author, but I'm trying to gravitate more in that direction, so I picked that one up. Here is another mystery, kind of in the vein of the L.S. Peters mysteries, the medieval mysteries. This is Red Slayer by Paul Harding. I think this is the second volume in this particular series, the Brother Athelstan series. So pretty close to the L.S. Peters series. Peter Ellis, whatever, can't remember. Doesn't matter. This one looked interesting. This is by P.J. Parrish, Dark of the Moon. Don't know anything really about this. It seems to be kind of a Southern Gothic based on the blurb on the back. Haven't read anything by this author, so looking forward to that. And I like the cover. All right, and here is another. Now, this is not necessarily a medieval mystery, but it is an Arthurian mystery series. This is the first one, The Excalibur Murders by J.M.C. Blair. And in this series of stories, Merlin is the detective, PI, private dick, whatever. So that's, I mean, I like my Arthurian stories, but this might be pushing the envelope a little bit for me, but I'm willing to give it a try. This looked interesting. It looks more like a vampire novel. This is Immortal Glamour by Chelsea Quinn Yarbrough. I've read some short stories by Yarbrough and thought they were not that bad. So I thought I saw this one, and it's got vampires, and it was October when I picked this up, so why not? This is looks like a men's adventure military fiction. This is Dead Sea Submarine by Alan Kayal. This is #1 in the Tobin's War series. I don't know anything about this. If you've seen this series before, the men's adventure aficionados out there, let me know if this is, men's adventure, or if it's strictly military fiction. Although, judging from some parts of the cover, I'm thinking it's leaning towards men's adventure at least a little bit. Who knows? Maybe you do. This one, I mean, the cover, or the title, I just couldn't pass this one up. This is Brides of Blood by Joseph Koenig. And this is a detective PI story, and I just thought I would give that a look. I think this is part of a series. Is it? Yeah, this is the one. Detective Darius Bakhtiar. This takes place in India. This is kind of an Indian murder mystery series, and I don't know. It just sounds really kind of exotic and interesting, so had to get that one. There's a fantasy series that I've been reading, the Wandor series, Wandor, and this is Wandor's Flight. This is the 4th and final book in that series. And it's by Roland Green. I've read the first 2 so far, and I need to pick up the 3rd, but this 4th was sitting there, so why not get ahead of the game a little bit? And so far it's been a good series. I've enjoyed it. It's not been great, sword and sorcery, but it's enjoyable, and so I'm definitely going to finish it, and needed this to do that. This one's kind of a thick one. This is 1916 by Morgan Llewellyn, and this is a historical fiction centered on the Easter Uprising in Ireland in 1916. Now, I've read some of Morgan Llewellyn's prehistoric, sort of, or Iron Age Celtic novels, and I enjoyed them. Was it Lion of Ireland or something like that was one of them? And so I enjoyed his writing, especially in that context. And I am definitely a student of the Troubles and the Irish Wars of Independence, so I just thought this would be an interesting read at some point. It's kind of a chunker, but what can you do but try? Another Elmore Leonard glitz. I just I'm gathering these up as I see them. I definitely a fan of Elmore Leonard, Michigan author, but more than that, he's just got a great way of writing. So many of his books have been turned into movies, and I am just kind of going through them as I get them. So I'm trying to read them in published order, just because there are so many little hooks and nuances every now and then he throws in that kind of harken back to earlier stories that he has written. So I want to make sure I read them in publishing order so I don't miss any of the inside jokes. Here's another one that's a kind of a mercenary men's adventure series that I had not heard of before. This is Cairo by Don Smith, and this is part of the Secret Mission Adventures story. Yeah, Secret Mission Adventure. I think this was not sure which one this was. Oh yeah, looks like it's way down towards the bottom. So it's like #8 or something like that. If any of you have seen any of these or read any of these, let me know what you thought of it. It looks pretty cool to me. This is a Keith Laumer on Timescape. This is Retief's War, and I think I've heard somebody out there on the YouTube talking about this before. Of course, I know Keith Laumer from other books, but the Retief series, I think somebody else has talked about, and that kind of fired a memory, and so I picked this one up. Start a new pile over there. This was kind of interesting. Again, this is another murder mystery that is the Blue Jay Shaman. It seems to have some Native American, Southeast America's sort of details or elements to the story. So that seemed, again, kind of interesting. It's called Murder Among... No. I already said that. Blue Jay Shaman by Lisa McClendon. And, yeah, thought I'd give it a try. We'll see how that goes. Never hurts to start a bunch of new series. Here's some sci-fi. This is Mac Reynolds, Satellite City. cool cover. Enjoyed that. So this is pretty much a cover by. I don't know anything by Mack Reynolds. I've never read his work before, so I'll give that a shot. This seems to be sort of a techno thriller or somewhere along the lines, maybe along the of Tom Clancy or something. This is Barracuda by Irving A. Greenfield. Pretty cool cover there. I think this is the same guy, kind of wrap around there. I think this is the same guy that wrote Firefox, if I'm not mistaken. I probably am mistaken. But it's kind of along the same, the whole Cold War thriller sort of thing that I really like. So couldn't help but pick that one up. Got to keep them from falling over. This is a cover by. I just really enjoyed the look of the cover. This is Saturnalia by Grant Kalin, and that's on Baen Books. It's a wraparound, and that just looked cool. I don't know Grant Kalin, don't know this book, but it definitely seemed like something I would want to pick up and explore some more. So there it is. I've heard of this one before, don't know anything about it really, but I definitely wanted to check it out because this is Survey Ship by Marion Zimmer Bradley, which is an author I know, but I don't know much about her her standalone books, kind of like this, the Survey Ship. So why not give it a try and see what that looks like? It's, again, an awesome looking cover, and had to pick it up on that alone. All right, this is a thriller, espionage sort of story. This is Gavin Lyle's The Secret Servant. Don't know a ton about it, don't know anything about the author, but it's kind of that espionage, it's World War II set sort of thing, and right up my alley. Box is starting to fall over there. This is another series that I've heard a lot of talk about on BookTube, but I am not familiar with at all. This is Revenge of the Horse Clans by Robert Adams. This is the third in the Horse Clans series. Again, I don't know anything about this series personally, but it seems like it's very popular in BookTube. So I definitely, as I saw it, I had to grab it. This was the only one, unfortunately, that I saw of this series. So I got there on the second day, so they may have been picked over already, which is not surprising. This one is something I've been actually looking for out in the wild, just haven't come across it, and it's strictly based on the name. I don't know anything else by this author, and it's just something I came across. Maybe it was in one of your videos, or maybe it was somewhere else, I don't know. But this is H. Beam Piper's Space Viking. Not the name like Space Viking, come on. That has to be an automatic buy, and for me it was. And the cover's pretty cool too. I think that's pretty. I like the use of the colors. It's just an appealing cover. I probably would have bought it if it was, named anything else, Space Cats or some shit like that. I probably would have bought. Maybe not Space Cats, but you get the point. This one is another one. Pretty cool cover. Again, I only bought it because of the cover. This is Legacy by James H. Schmitz. I mean, come on. That's almost Men's Adventure in Space, isn't it? Who knows? Probably is not, but I'm willing to find out. Willing to take the $2 risk on that one. Again, this is another one I just kind of grabbed. I really don't even know. The cover's not really all that appealing, but it is sci-fi, so it's The Pirates of Rocinante by Alexis A. Gilliland, I think. Author, again, I do not know. And not the most spectacular cover, but I was probably just in a trance at that point and was just grabbing and throwing in the cart, and that's what happened. Well, actually throwing in the box, literally. But this one is a historical fiction, but I think it's sort of nautical story of survival. This is The Magnificent Savages by Fred Mustard Stewart. That's what I thought when I picked it up. It turns out this is kind of a family saga. The Savages are a family, not a real historical family, but it's kind of like I don't know, the Thornbirds maybe. So we'll see how this goes. I'm not so much excited about this as I was when I picked it up, but I don't know. We'll give it a shot. Because yeah, I do have picked up a ton of crap, but my intention is fully to read these in the time that is left to me. So if I get to them, I'm hoping to get to them. I'm definitely more of a buyer than a collector, and a reader than a collector. Anyway, so this is Lin Carter, which I've read short stories by Lin, but I've never read any full-length novels. And this is The City Outside the World, again by Lin Carter, with kind of a interesting looking cover. I bought this one on name recognition, just because I seem to recall enjoying the short stories that I've read. Now this is one that I think, well, I know, I'm pretty much know for sure. I read this back in the late 80s, I believe. I can't remember if it was in high school or junior high. Let's see, when did it come out? It was published in 86, so probably it would have been high school. I remember reading it, and I remember liking it, but I don't remember anything about it. And I saw this again, and the cover sparked that, and it's by John Maddox Roberts. And this is King of the Woods. And so I picked up another copy. I'm going to read this for sure, just because I want to remember what it was I liked about that book, or if I even actually did. Along with the Space Vikings, this is another one that I had to pick up just on the cover, or on the title alone. This is Tom Godwin's The Space Barbarians. So Vikings and barbarians, there's got to be, it's got to be a party. So yeah, this is a Pyramid book, and it was published in, I know I shouldn't be taking the time to do this, 1964. So this is kind of an older one, and I was excited to get this, just for the fact of the name and the fact that it's vintage, going back to the 60s there. Let's see, what's next? Okay, this is The Annals of the Heechee by Frederik Pohl. I picked up the first two Heechee novels when I was in middle school. I do remember it's middle school. I read The Heechee Rendezvous, totally out of order of everything else. Never read anything else in the Heechee saga, so I'm going to try to redo that. I've got, like I said, got the first two, and I believe Heechee Rendezvous might have been the third, and I think this is the fourth or fifth, one of the two. This is more towards the end of the series, so grab that just because I'm going to need it eventually. Here's a series that I wanted to find the first book of and give this one a shot, because I've heard, again, a lot about this. Military sci-fi. This is David Drake's Hammers Slammers, and was happy to find the obviously the first in this whole series. It's a long-running series, I believe, but I'm willing to endure it, provided this is pretty good. And I've heard it is, but we'll see. What I was hoping to find there, and I didn't, I was hoping to get a handful or a lot of Gothic novels, and I really didn't find many. But one I did find is At Dark of the Moon by Alice Chetwynd Lay. And that looks pretty cool. When was this published? This is a Ballantine book. Now it says it's romance. It's not exactly, it doesn't call itself a Gothic. This was published in 1978. But the cover kind of screams Gothic to me. So I'll give this one a shot, see if that truly is Gothic or if it's lame. And the only other one that I found that was Gothic, and I know this one is going to definitely be Gothic. This is Victoria Holt's The King of the Castle. And this is, Victoria Holt is a big name in the Gothic genre. This is a Fawcett Cress book from 1967. So that's right there in the heyday of the Gothic. And so definitely had to pick that one up. This is cover by, and it's an ace double, which is pretty cool. This is William F. Temple's Battle on Venus. This is the cover I saw, and that's what led me to buy it. I didn't even realize it was an ace double when I first saw this cover. And on the flip side is The Three Sons of Amara, also by William F. Temple. So glad to get this. I think this was from 1973. And there was another one right there. This is Ross Rockland's The Sun Destroyers. And Edmund Hamilton's A Yank at Valhalla. And this is the one that kind of caught my attention, and so I grabbed this as well. I think this is also from 1973. Let's see here. They had a bunch of Executioner books, and I grabbed a couple of early ones that I hadn't gotten to yet. There's number 2, The Death Squad, which looks pretty badass right there. Not sure what he's doing, but it still looks badass. Number 3, Battle Mask. Got some explosions going on with that one, so yay. And number 19, Detroit Death Watch. So I absolutely have been on the outlook for this one just because Detroit. And lo and behold, here it is. So that was fun to add. Another one I think is a sort of a well, I don't know. It's sort of I want to say spy thriller, but I'm not quite so sure about that. This is James Carroll's Madonna Red. Just based on the cover, it looks like it's sort of one of those espionage thrillers, and it's talking about an assassin and things like that. So I'm assuming that's where it's going to be at. We'll find out. Let's see here. All right. Another series that I have been really, really looking for the first one of, and I see the series everywhere. I see later books in the series practically everywhere, but I never see number 1. And finally, I found that, and that is The Tarnsmen of Gore by John Norman. The whole controversial Gore series is one that I've been really interested in getting started, and so I picked up The Tarnsmen of Gore, and they also happen to have Assassin of Gore and Priest King of Gore. So, and I've already had several of them. I don't even know how many. 4 or 5, sitting on the shelf waiting to pick up the Tarnsmen. And now that I finally got that, I can get that series going and see what that's all about. All right, this next one looks kind of like a slasher. I don't know for sure, but we'll see. It may be just a thriller, but let's hope not. This is Charisma by Orania Papazoglou. And I said that terribly wrong, I'm sure, and I apologize to anybody I might have offended with that language. But yeah, it looks kind of cool. It looks kind of like a, given that it's got a rosary wrapped around a knife, it looks kind of like maybe a religious murder sort of story. So we'll see how that goes. Oh no, the box is falling again. Also got a couple of Sam Durrell novels. I've got Assignment Manchurian Doll. And let's see, when would this one? This one looks like an early one. It's a gold medal. 1963. So yeah, that was cool to pick up. And I also got Assignment Bangkok, which looks kind of wild there on the cover. Got an elephant and unfortunate shenanigans happening with whatever vehicle the elephant is crushing there. I thought I had another one, but I can't seem to find it at the moment. Anyway, I picked this one up just because of the name. It seems to be sort of a sci-fantasy or fantasy sci-fi. This is Jack Mass's Mooncrow. Don't know anything about this book or the author, and just something thought I would pick up. The name's pretty cool. All right, this is a novel by Dennis L. McKiernan, a fantasy novel, The Braga Path. And I think this is a second in the, book 2 of the Silver Call duology. So second in the 2-book series, The Silver Call. I do believe I've read something from him back in high school, but I don't recall much about it at all. But I do recall these covers, and I really enjoy the artwork. And it's by, what's his name? I looked it up before I even started, and now I can't even remember it. Yeah, it doesn't say in the book, but it was on ISFDB. So, yeah, if you want to find out, go ahead and look up on ISFDB. That'll tell you. Maybe I'll put it down here. I don't know. I'm not I'm not that attentive. But yeah, I enjoy his writing, so I'm excited to pick that one up. I've seen this series talked about, but I have not read it, and I've not read anything by the author. This is Peter Albano's Revenge of the Seventh Carrier. Now, this is later on in the Seventh Carrier series. I think this is about a Japanese aircraft carrier from World War II that was frozen in the ice or something, and it comes alive again, and all sorts of shenanigans occur. So it's a series that definitely interests me. I wish I'd have found one of the earlier books, or if not the first. But hey, I'll get this for when the time comes that I do get those others. Right? Planning ahead. I picked this up just because it's an author I like. This is C.G. Cherry's Voyager in the Night, or in Night, Voyager in Night. Don't know anything about the book, sci-fi, but I do know the author, so glad to pick that up. Just more from her. Now, this is the first book I have of a very respected, I'm guessing, author here in the BookTube community, or whatever community we call ourselves. This is A.E. Van Vogt's Masters of Time. I've not read any Van Vogt, and I've heard that this book is a good one, so I happened to see it, grabbed it. That will be my introduction to Van Vogt at one point in time. This one was kind of interesting. If it were any other subject, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. But this is James Alexander Thorne's Panther in the Sky. This is historical fiction. It is a fictionalized life of Tecumseh. And Tecumseh was a very prominent Native American leader. And he has... There's a strong ties to Tecumseh from the area that I grew up here in Michigan. In fact, his grave, I visited his supposed grave site, burial site, many times when I was really, through the years growing up, from elementary school age all the way up through high school. It's kind of buried in the woods on a polluted river, but that's kind of the way everything is in where I grew up. But yeah, so I just picked this up just because it's kind of interesting. It's kind of got a local tie that was interesting to me. Oh yeah, here's the other Sam Durrell. This is Assignment 13th Princess. Not the greatest cover, but it's a Sam Durrell. So in the box it goes. This one I picked up solely on the name of the title. Don't know anything about the author, who is Steve Hamilton. This is Winter of the Wolf Moon. I think this is a suspense thriller kind of thing. I don't necessarily think it's... Oh no, that's why... Yeah, I remember why I picked this one up. This is a series featuring a private investigator named Alex McKnight, and it takes place in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. So yeah, it was the name caught my eye because I had been on the lookout for this series. So I was really happy to pick that one up. Oh, here's another Gore novel, Raiders of Gore. Pretty cool cover on that there. I think it's, I don't know, one of the better Gore covers, I think. Just kind of interesting the way they did the whole ship thing and that. This one I picked up, again, simply because of the cover, and the name, actually. This is Susan Holzer's Bleeding Maize and Blue. I am a lifelong U of M fan, and it's a murder whodunit at U of M at the Big House. But it turns out that this is a Michigan author, Susan Holzer. And this is a series, again, where Annika Hagen is the private investigator, I believe. And she solves mysteries all around the Ann Arbor area. So there was no hesitation to buy that one. Now, this is another one that you all have been talking about profusely, and it's one that I'm not familiar with, but I will be soon, and that's Roger Zelazny's Nine Princes in Amber. And thought this was a pretty cool edition. Loved that artwork, and looking forward to giving that one a shot. And we're at 30 minutes, and almost done. Here is a short story collection, a DAW. It's not a Yellow Spine anymore, but this is Amazons 2. So it's a bunch of short stories by authors such as Tanith Lee, George R.R. Martin, Joe Clayton. and it's all featuring mythological or larger than life warrior women. So definitely excited to check that one out. Another timescape novel. The name of the author sounds familiar. I haven't read anything by her, but her name sounds familiar, so I picked it up. This is Kate Wilhelm's A Sense of Shadow. Looked kind of interesting there. Kind of maybe bordering on horror or whatever. And last up, had to get a long arm, and this is Long Arm and the Desert Spirits. This is number 99 in the out of, I don't know, a billion or so. So yeah, pick that one up in adult western. All right, that's all I got at the that's all I got at the that huge book sale down there by Ann Arbor. So I'll wrap it up because it's been a long video as it is so far, and I will catch you next time when I'll go over all the other crap that I bought in the month of October. So until then, be safe, keep reading good stuff.